I want to salute the judges of the Supreme Court as well. It was straight to the point.
Federal Ministry of Livestock Development underway. President Tinubu inaugurates Renewed Hope Livestock Reform Implementation Committee.
We'll be glad, very, very glad to play the role of opposition. And I want to challenge the government that they should be on their feet and be ready.
Nigeria set to reform Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act as Senate moves to mandate payment of compensation to victims. Cybersecurity gains momentum as legislators work on comprehensive bill for the ICT sector. You're watching the Network News on NTA Live with me, Naja'atu Tijani, standing in for Olajide Bello. Joining me with updates in the world of business is Benny Adams. Welcome. Remember that this broadcast is also being streamed live on our website, nta.ng/live. Do follow us across all social media platforms for updates as well. And now the news in detail. President Bola Tinubu has inaugurated a high-powered committee to address issues relating to farmer-herder clashes in the country. The committee is named the Renewed Hope Livestock Reform Implementation Committee. State House correspondent Musbah Wahab reports that President Tinubu also pronounced the creation of a new ministry to be known as the Federal Ministry of Livestock Development.
The pastoralists with their much treasured head, just as the farmers expect multiple yields from their plantations. Conflict of individual interest has resulted in violent clashes across farmlands with thousands of lives and properties consumed. Successive administrations had searched for an enduring solution to the perennial farmers-herders clashes that appeared elusive for years.
Who says the solution is far? I say no, the solution is here. With this.
The Presidential Livestock Reform Committee set up last year, headed by former Kano State Governor Abdullahi Ganduje, has made recommendations they hope can provide the lasting solution now ready for implementation. And President Bola Tinubu believes Nigeria is close to the much expected solution.
First and foremost, to provide impetus to enable Nigeria to finally take advantage of livestock farming, dairy product, cold chain logistics, collectively offer substantial commercial and economic advantages. We have seen solutions. An opportunity with this adversity that had plagued us over the years. And I believe the prosperity is here in your hands.
Also hoping to convert the adversity of many years to prosperity, the administration is setting up another set of experts in motion in a 26-member implementation committee. And for proper development of the potential in the sector, President Tinubu's administration is creating the Ministry of Livestock Development.
We need to create this economy. Seize this opportunity. Be it ranches you recommend and promote, I will work with it for the success of this program and the first success of the entire nation. So we will leave a Nigerian flag without stain to our children. Thank you very much.
Now, a desperate measure is underway for this desperate situation, it appears, as President Bola Tinubu himself offers to serve as chairman, while a former INEC chairman, Professor Hatahiru Jega, co-chairs the committee. From the State House, Musbah Wahab, NTA News.
My colleague Musbao Danwahab mentioned a team of experts on the committee, and one of those experts is here to elaborate further on President Bola Tinubu's creation of the Renewed Hope Livestock Reform Implementation Committee, and that's the Secretary of the committee, Professor Muhammad Yahya Kuta. Thank you for joining NTA News, Professor.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Nigerians.
Professor, what are its terms of reference? This committee, what are the terms of reference of the Presidential Committee on Livestock Reforms, which the President has just inaugurated? And what is the committee meant to achieve?
Thank you very much. Nigerians are today in happy mood from all across the world since presidential pronouncement by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. This day, it has become a watershed in the annals of Nigerian agricultural development, where the president set up this committee and to chair it himself, to be co-chaired by a man of integrity, Professor Atairu Jega, who luckily was the chairman of the conference committee that produced the blueprint and the comprehensive livestock reforms during the February 2023 Reform Conference. Today, it is Presidential Committee with 16 terms of reference. And these terms of reference are strategically designed to address all the lingering issues that affect the livestock industry. But most importantly, Mr. President has scored a major goal by making a pronouncement for the long overdue Ministry of Livestock Development, because in other smaller countries like Burkina Faso, Mali, even Benin Republic that has Ministry of Livestock have a GDP contribution of almost 55% to agricultural GDP. Nigeria is at a abysmal level of less than 10%. It's unacceptable because we have more potentials in terms of massive land that can be used for livestock production, in terms of the opportunities of pasture development and all the modernities that goes with agricultural system in terms of livestock development. And Mr. President has made a pronouncement that this is an opportunity that we must seize, because in every adversity there is opportunity, and therefore we must confirm and confront all the issues with this committee's mandate. And the major challenge and opportunities in creating the Ministry of Livestock Development for Nigeria, which is going to be the game changer in terms of livestock development in our nation. So we congratulate and appreciate the President for giving us not only hope, but for insisting that the hope is here and that he has left no one in doubt today that he is the President that is ready to transform Nigeria.
Now, speaking of this watershed moment and all these issues you've raised on when it comes to livestock production, we now have a new Ministry of Livestock Production in the making. What does this mean for the country, and how will it affect the way agricultural processes are performed in the country, especially animal husbandry?
Well, in the new concept of animal agriculture, it is a game changer in terms of the entire value chain of agriculture, a livestock system, from production to as the Mr. President said, to all the actors in the value chain. It is going to be an economic boom, because it will now mean that he has already directed the relevant MDAs, the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning, to provide the budgetary subhead so that it will be properly captured and addressed in terms of funding. So therefore, it is going to regenerate the kind of economic boom that will complement what the agricultural sector is doing. So as far as we are concerned, the committee is going to fast track and operationalize all the issues that Mr. President has directed in the 16 terms of reference, and indeed is other additional challenge to the committee, that the committee should seize the moment and make history for Nigeria. So we are very glad, and that is going to be the new that paradigm shift in terms of agriculture and food security in Nigeria. Because he said some of the products like milk, cheese,
He said, who is not part of meat consumption in this country? We have the population and the massive production that can happen with this opportunity is a new dawn. And I hope that we are not going to leave anybody in doubt that this is going to be the game changer Nigerians have been waiting for. And the kind of reaction we have received from across the world, that everybody is enthusiastic, as if Mr. President has given Nigerians a new lease of life. And that is what I think is going to happen. It will also help us address the lingering crisis that is associated with herdsmen-farmers conflict.
Let me cut in there, Professor. I have to cut in there because I was going to ask a question about that. Now, Professor, you are a professor of agri-extension, so you are well aware of some of the conflict between farmers and herdsmen. Now, what is the committee going to do about this? How does the committee intend to address this lingering issue?
The terms of reference has categorically and strategically requested the committee to interface with all the stakeholders so that we can address some of the lingering issues, especially the farmer-herders conflict, which has to do with a number of issues. The climate change is a reality. The demand for space has also aggravated the struggle over land resources. So these are some of the issues that will be addressed by the committee, and we're going to reach out to all the stakeholders across the length and breadth of the country, and if possible, even partners that are interested in addressing some of those issues. We have in our committee conflict expert, we have in our committee sociological expert, we have in our committee agroecological experts, we have animal scientists, we have veterinary doctors, and that is why, Mr. President, challenge that you cannot get it better with the array of men and women assembled in this committee.
Thank you, Professor. I've been speaking, I'm quite sure Nigerians are happy to hear this, and Nigerians will indeed look forward to seeing results. I have been speaking with the Secretary of the Presidential Committee on Livestock Reforms, that's Professor Mohammed Yahaya Bello. Sorry,
Kuta.
Professor Muhammad Yahaya Kuta. Thank you for joining us, Professor.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Moving on now. Not sure where I got Bello from, but President Bola Tinubu has given assurance that various issues around the supply chain of petroleum products, which resulted in the current scarcity of petrol, are being addressed. The Chief Executive of the Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, Farouk Ahmed, who was in the State House to brief the President, promised that the logistics issues are being resolved, and a normal, steady supply will be returned in a matter of days. He also updated the President on other regulatory matters in the sector.
To brief him about the supply situation, as well as the topical issue about Dangote refinery and the issue of issuance of licenses for importation of petroleum products, as well as patronizing our local industry. And I assured Mr. President that we are going to patronize our local industry, we're going to protect our local industry, but at the same time, we have to look at the market is deregulated. So I have briefed him, and just an ongoing normal briefing that I did because of the concerns that he raised about all the talk about quality of products. And I explained to him the quality of products that is being imported in the country versus the quality of products being produced locally. So, and he's happy with it.
The Senate is working on a legislation that makes provision for the payment of compensation to victims of violence in Nigeria. A bill to repeal and enact the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, sponsored by Senator Issa Jibrin, highlights the need to create a victim support fund to cater to victims of violence and to make more stringent punishment for offenders. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
The Violence Against Persons Prohibition Bill 2024 has embedded in its provisions for maximum protection and effective remedies for victims, as well as punishments for offenders.
The offense of rape needs particular attention There is need to make a decision between absence of consent and consent obtained by fraud, undue influence, and other unlawful means.
The punishment should be steep enough to deter commission of the offense.
It is the place of the Senate, the National Assembly, to protect the girl child and to protect minors in our society. We will take cognizance of cultural diversities, but we must protect our children.
It passed second reading and referred to Senate Committee on Justice, Human Rights and Legal Matters for further legislative action. Also passed at second reading is the Chartered Out-of-Home Media Practitioners Bill to further regulate advertising in Nigeria. Senate has adopted a motion urging the federal government to address food insecurity and market exploitation in Nigeria, as moved by Senator Sandy Karimi.
All effort made by the current federal executive to arrest the consistent increase in food inflation have not yielded the desired result. There need to be more pragmatic.
Currently, there are 4 countries, including Sudan and some others, that are facing very serious food insecurity. And Nigeria is added to this list this year.
Senate also advised the federal government to be considerate in implementing recommendations of the Oronsoye report, as winding down an agency could only be done through the repeal of the act by Parliament. The issue was raised by Senator Mohammed Onau.
The Oronsoye report is a committee report that should not override the act of Parliament.
Let the rule of law be followed to the latter. That while this repealing is going on, this streamlining is going on, that we should formally be notified.
Bring a bill to the National Assembly, and then those agencies will be repealed through that bill, and then they stand repealed.
Other features at plenary include the confirmation of Matthew Adepoju as Director General of National Space Research and Development Agency. In the meantime, Deputy President of the Senate, Senator Barrow Jibrin, has expressed optimism that President Bola Tinubu will assent to the bill seeking to establish the Northwest Development Commission, recently passed by the National Assembly. Lami Ali, NTA News.
The House of Representatives has urged the federal government to suspend the Samoa Agreement it signed with the European Union to boost food security and economic development. The Green Chamber voted in favor of a motion to this effect, sponsored by Deputy Minority Leader Aliu Madaki and 88 other lawmakers. National Assembly correspondent Mitaire Ikpen reports on this and other resolutions at Tuesday's plenary.
Clauses. The last is yet to be heard on the federal government's Samoa Agreement with the European Union. Lawmakers are seeking investigation into what they call supremacy clauses in the agreement.
Article 97 of the alleged agreement, which states no treaty, convention, agreement, or arrangement of any kind between one or more member states of OACPS members shall impede the implementation of this agreement, is seen as supremacy clause, and thus violate Nigeria's sovereignty.
There is no portion of that agreement that talks about LGBTQ. In fact, 3 ministers have come out, including information, budget and planning, in public to say there was nothing like that in the agreement.
As a parliament, all we are saying is that we want to be satisfied that what the executive has told Nigerians is actually the true position of the facts.
Another investigation was launched into the resurgence of fuel queues in parts of the country.
There are also allegations of racketeering and favoritism in the pro forma invoice system, otherwise known as the PFI regime.
The bill seeking special elective seats for women scaled second reading after robust debate.
This bill seeks, in fulfillment of that promise, to bring into Parliament seats where that will be statutory for women.
I believe that there's a broad consensus on the need for it. Also appealing that you also should please help us and make this bill see the light of the day.
Accepting this bill is against democratic principle and is undermining the fundamental human right of those ones that are popular in their own constituencies, Mr. Speaker.
I do not know of any law of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that stops a woman from contesting election or winning a seat in the House of Representatives. Those against me, the ayes have it.
Bills seeking diaspora voting and timely execution of contracts also scaled second reading alongside other establishment bills.
To provide for the rights of Nigerian citizens living outside Nigeria to vote in certain elections conducted in Nigeria.
The purpose of this new provision is to reduce corruption.
The House passed 4 bills to establish the North Central Development Commission, Southwest Development Commission, Nigeria Correctional Service Trust Fund, and Federal Medical Center, Sabongida Ora, Edo State. Meanwhile, the management of the Niger Delta Development Commission presented a 2024 budget proposal of 1.9 trillion naira to the Green Chamber for consideration.
The actual figure.
From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
This is the network news on NTA. Stay tuned for more reports after some messages. Now for maritime news. The federal government says it is committed to developing the maritime sector and contributing meaningfully to its economic growth through development. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, made this known at the 17th International Maritime Seminar for Judges, organized by the Nigerian Shippers Council, the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy, and the National Judicial Institute. Omenka Amarachukwu reports.
The maritime sector is a complex and dynamic field that necessitates comprehensive legal and administrative oversights, recognizing the importance of the sector to the development of the economy as a purview of shipping and allied operations, with particular reference to addressing the blue economy and the evolving legal issues that impact the maritime domain, informed this gathering for judges to provide a veritable platform for the harmonization of business laws for greater economic integration in the African continent.
This administration recognizes the essential role and economic significance of the maritime subsector.
The creation of the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy by Mr. President is apt, and all efforts must be made to strengthen the new ministry through law and regulations.
And as we embark upon the proceedings for the 17th edition of this seminar, I am convinced that this forum will afford stakeholders the great opportunity to dialogue on current and emerging issues.
This seminar is the 17th in the series is heartwarming, and indeed a testimony of the seminar's consistency and efficiency.
Perspectives shared here will undoubtedly contribute to more informed and effective judicial decisions.
Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adeboyego Itola, says the ministry has thrown its weight behind the repeal of the Nigerian Shippers Council Act and Port Economic Regulatory Agency Bill 2024.
As justices and judges, your role is indispensable in interpreting and applying maritime law to resolve disputes, uphold international standards, and promote justice.
Judicial enlightenment and continuous education are pivotal in ensuring the seamless administration of justice.
We need to bring this law to speed and bring it to the modern realities of the maritime sector. And today, most importantly, Mr. President has found it necessary to focus attention in the maritime sector to grow the economy.
The stakeholders here are expected to discuss various issues, including impact of the maritime laws in regards to international best practices. In Abuja, Omenka Amarachukwu, NTA News.
Now for a centenary birthday message, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu extends his best wishes and congratulations to renowned Islamic leader Sheikh Dahiru Usman Bauchi, who has attained the milestone age of 100. President Tinubu described Sheikh Dahiru Bauchi as a shining light who has significantly contributed to shaping Islamic knowledge as well as moral and ethical standards in modern Nigeria. The president thanks the Tijaniya leader for dedicating his life to spreading knowledge and raising generations of Nigerians. On this momentous occasion, President Tinubu prays for greater wisdom and good health for the venerable Sheikh. The federal government has reiterated the commitment to rebuilding the country through direct investment in every sector of the economy. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, stated this when he received a delegation from the African Descendants in Diaspora Union, Afridu. Kenneth Nanim reports.
Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, says the current administration has demonstrated the political will to woo more investors from outside the shores of the country for a quicker economic recovery. He expresses the readiness by the federal government to partner the African Descendants in Diaspora Union, who have traced their origin to Nigeria and are willing to directly invest in various sectors of the economy.
I welcome all of you very sincerely. Nigeria is your place. West Africa is your place.
The delegation, led by its president, Professor Chidebere Ogbu, later in a press conference expresses the desire of Afridu members globally who have traced their ancestral homes to Nigeria to be recognized not as tourists or investors, but as citizens in order to feel at home to bring their resources and expertise to bear for the good of the nation.
So we look forward that the Executive President, His Excellency, the President of Nigeria, need to look into it to consider accepting their proposal.
But we are also claiming all that we lost: land, language, culture, and the connection to a people. We want it, and we're prepared to invest.
And we can do business in Nigeria with our family and not be judged by the color of our skin, right? But by our capabilities.
This government is looking forward to encouraging every individual to showcase his or her talent towards nation building to make sure that this country is better for all of us.
The federal government and the group are on the same page regarding homecoming for Africans in the diaspora to join hands in the development of the continent. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
On the health scene, Jigawa State Government is reinforcing a result-driven collaboration with UNICEF to expand intervention in the health sector. The focus is on child nutrition and maternal health. Muhammad Musa Askira reports that the UNICEF Nigeria country representative Christian Mandwate joined Governor Umar Namadi in performing a groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of 30 primary health care facilities across the state.
By the current economic condition of the country, child nutrition program is now receiving attention more than ever before in Jigawa State, spearheaded by the Umar Namadi administration in collaboration with UNICEF Nigeria.
About 40,000 children have been identified as having acute malnutrition in Jigawa State, hence the need for urgent intervention by the state government in collaboration with the UNICEF to arrest further deterioration of the situation. To that effect, 12,404 cartons of therapeutic food have been provided for free distribution to the affected children at various health facilities across the state. Parts of this collaboration is focusing on the revitalization of 30 primary healthcare facilities across the state, one at each of the state's 30 state constituencies. This initiative, Governor Umar Namadi says, will complement a similar federal government intervention under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's health agenda, which seeks to provide one functional primary health care across all the political wards in the country.
Even as we have attained the state vision of at least one functional basic health care facility in each of the 287 political wards in the state, Much needs to be done to strengthen the state primary health care program, including reinforcement of routine immunization and child nutrition.
My presence here is to deliver jointly and led by the Jigawa government the therapeutical in food. This is a ready-to-use supplement that helps children who suffer severe acute malnutrition.
The partnership is also set to look into innovations to find local solutions to local problems, especially in the area of nutrition and basic health protocols through awareness campaign. From Dutse, Muhammad Musa Askira, NTA News.
The Rural Electrification Agency is partnering the Nigerian Television Authority to actualize the National Electrification Plan for enhanced socio-economic gains. This is as NTA's Director General Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos has received the Managing Director of the agency, Abba Abubakar Aliyu, on a visit, who earlier visited him in his office. Tope Alabi reports.
Almost 85 million Nigerians currently lacking access to electricity in many off-grid communities. It is only natural for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda to solve the challenges uniquely. These, among other reasons, is why the Managing Director of the Rural Electrification Agency, Abba Abubakar Aliyu, is seeking a reliable collaboration with the Nigerian Television Authority to actualize federal government's inclusive policy to allow more people have access to electricity. The Managing Director highlighted some of the policy guidelines, including the mapping system and implementation phases, which include the nation's universities and teaching hospitals through mini-grids and solar systems, as well as training 100 students in each of the ivory tower to build capacities in renewable energy.
Where are even the so-called 85 million Nigerians? Where are the underserved communities? Where are the unserved? Where are the served? If we say that we provide mini-grid to 150 communities, where are they? Have they moved from unserved to served? So that everybody can have an app on his system and access the entire mapping of the country.
NTA's Director General Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos says Africa's largest TV network will continue to support policies aimed at ameliorating the country's socio-economic challenges.
I know quite a number of people don't seem to fully get a grasp of the agency's mandate. But through information dissemination and, of course, our effort, I think we'll be able to do that properly by way of giving you the opportunities to be coming on board so that people will listen to you, and where there are needs for you to also have one-on-one interaction with viewers, of course, that is going to also add value to what we are doing.
The Federal Executive Council recently approved a $750 million electricity project of the Rural Electrification Agency to start in August. Tope Alabi, NTA News.
More news right after the break. Stay tuned. The Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, says as part of creative solutions to financing the gaps observed in road infrastructural development and the innovative perspective of thinking outside the box by the renewed hope administration of President Bola Tinubu, the ministry has concluded discussions with Julius Berger PLC on alternative financing structures for the construction of the Lokoja-Shintaku Bridge in Kogi State. In a statement by Special Advisor Media Uchenna Orji, the minister says it is part of the decision reached during a meeting with representatives of Julius Berger PLC, Felipe Nuno Lopez, and the development partner Deutsche Bank. Expressing hope of accomplishing the project on target, Dave Umahi called for quick commencement of the contract and procurement process. The representative of Julius Berger PLC, Felipe Lopez, in his comments gave assurance that with the certificate of no objection issued by the Bureau of Public Procurement on the Lokoja-Shintaku project, it would be moved forward. The management of the Nigerian Television Authority says remarkable efforts are being taken towards repositioning the organization's mode of operation in compliance with standard auditing practice. Director General of the NTA, Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos, gave the assurance while declaring open the NTA Internal Auditors Conference holding at the headquarters. Usman Zubairu reports.
Internal audit, a catalyst for a robust internal control system in an organization, is a theme for this year's NTA Internal Auditors Conference holding at the headquarters in Abuja. It's designed to equip the auditors to do their job effectively without compromising standard regulation and providing reliable financial reports for management decision making.
Perform their jobs effectively and efficiently, so that they will improve in what they are doing in order to improve on the internal control system of NTA.
Director General NTA Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos said the organization is taking cognizance of their mode of operation and modern equipment will be deployed for the situation room at the headquarters, which will connect all stations to enable them monitor their station's performance. Represented by the Executive Director of Finance, Abdullahi Ismail Ahmad, the DG employed them to be watchdog of the organization and ensure harmony with other departments for effective service delivery.
State here that you will have my strong support in undertaking any assignment that will ensure the attainment of organization goals and objectives within the context of the law.
In their separate goodwill messages, various executive directors urged the auditors to ensure transparency and accountability in line with the required standard NTA is known for. In Abuja, Usman Zubairu, NTA News.
Speaking of accountability, Benny has business news. Benny, what's happening when it comes to national finances and the economy?
A whole lot. It's all about management. Now, a bill that seeks to increase the deployment and use of digital technology in all sectors, which will facilitate economic growth, has passed first reading. The Ministry of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy say the bill provides framework for originality of digital documents, digital signature, consumer protection and smart transactions in this age of global trade for economic growth.
If the digital economy is strong, it will catalyze development and progress in education because we can use technology to better educate our people. It will create job opportunities for our young people because globally there's shortage.
The bill tries to empower agencies and the private sector to retain those information electronically in order to facilitate trade and businesses in Nigeria. Digital signatures are very important in these days of global trade. We are all talking about AFICTA, the Africa Free Trade Zone. We have to play in that area. And if we have to play in that area, we have to set standards and protect consumers.
Skills and solutions exist locally. They should be patronized before foreign software or foreign solutions are brought into the country at the expense of our foreign reserves. So there will be a number of job opportunities.
Now, the Nigeria Export Processing Zones Authority says it has generated 6 billion naira revenue as at June 2024 and is poised to doing more. Bosere Abel Amosu reports that this was as the House of Representatives Committee on Commerce paid an oversight visit to the authority. Challenges bordering on outdated legal framework, conflict within agencies in the free trade zones and dormant zones were brought to the table.
The free trade zone scheme that we manage and regulate is a handshake between the Nigerian people and people, investors who have brought their money from abroad, mostly, some are Nigerians, to invest in Nigeria. And we give them incentives and we expect certain returns from them. So we don't just support, we also regulate.
Lawmakers promise a review of the legislation establishing the authority with a view to enabling effective service delivery.
Urgency and the speed that you need to reposition this agency is now. The commerce and industry sector is the secret sauce to ensuring that inflation is tackled, unemployment is brought to the barest minimum, you can make it to security, etc., etc., etc.
Now, investors lost 113.49 billion naira as the oil share index declined by 0.20%. They closed at 99,805.95 basis points. A total of 304.1 million shares in 8,256 deals corresponding to a market value of 4.997 billion naira were traded. Today's data shows a 56% decline in volume, 30% decline in turnover, and 40% decline in deals. The current market capitalization is 56.5 trillion naira. On the aggregate, 111 listed equities participated in trading, ending with 28 gainers and 24 losers. Veritas Capital Assurance recorded the highest volume of 36.3 million traded shares, followed by Fidelity Bank, 33.7 million, and ICO Insurance, 25.8 million. That is business news. Network news continues, but after this commercial break.
And here's an update on the new national minimum wage. The organized labor is calling on Nigerian workers to exercise more patience over the new national minimum wage as the leadership of the workers' unions regularly engaging with the presidency to come up with an acceptable and considerate wage for all workers. The President, Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, Festus Osifo, gave this update to newsmen on the sidelines of the maiden edition of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria's Women's Conversation in Abuja.
We've had some conversations privately with agents of government, from the office of the SGF, from the office of the Minister of State Labour. So we've been having a lot of conversations, but I think it will culminate with an interaction with Mr. President, where we will also make our position known before he submits the bill to the National Assembly.
On gender inclusion in the industry, Festus Osifo, who is also the president of Pengasan, says employment and appointment of women into offices is improving, adding that women are playing significant roles in building and developing the industry, which is the country's major source of revenue.
When you come to offshore operations today, you have some women who are doing 14 days. They stay 14 days in the field, they go home for 14 days.
We are telling the world that we are not just women. We are women with competencies. We are women of intelligence. We are women who are ready to walk the walk.
The forum focuses on appreciating the impactful contribution of women in the oil and gas business. And the Director General, Nigerian Television Authority, Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos, is known for a lot of incredible things in the television industry to a lot of people, agencies, and civil society organizations. For the National Association of Polytechnic Students, NAPS, the DG is a role model, icon of professionalism, and a beacon of hope for future generations. Charles Alpha tells us that these qualities have earned him an award of excellence and national patron of NAPS.
This award is all about competence and not personality. It is about achievements and not certificates. It is all about professionalism and how the Nigerian Television Authority has evolved under this leadership and his team. Leadership of the National Association of Polytechnic Students acknowledges this and has bestowed on the Director General and his team the National Patron an award of credence for repositioning NTA to its pride of place and in promoting the development and welfare of polytechnic students in Nigeria.
I can say categorically that virtually all of us, we are following NTA, and if you want to have the accurate and the break news of what is happening in this country today, it is only NTA that can give you.
The greatest Nigerian students.
Full of appreciation and encouragement to continue to break new grounds with the largest TV network in Africa, the DG NTA, Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos, a unionist himself, acknowledges the fact that NTA is being driven by public expectations, interest, and the quest to be the best, and reliable news source.
I want to offer myself 24/7 for any advice, for any contribution in any form that is possible in order to make NABS an association that everybody will be proud of.
For us, supporting him is easy because all we've done is to key into a vision.
The DG promised the National Association of Polytechnic Students a platform for them to continue to champion public discussions on eliminating the dichotomy between polytechnic students and those of university graduates. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Next is sports update.
Nigeria's representatives in the 2024 CAF Inter-Club competitions, Rangers, Remo Stars, Eyimba and El Kanemi Warriors, will on Thursday find out their opponents for the preliminary rounds of the CAF Inter-Club competitions. The official draw will hold in Cairo, Egypt on Thursday afternoon. Despite being champions of the Nigerian Premier Football League, Rangers will have to start their campaign in the CAF Champions League from the preliminary rounds, and also Remo Stars. Tani, the official mascot of the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup, has been unveiled ahead of the first FIFA tournament to be staged in the Dominican Republic. The mascot name was inspired by the Taino people indigenous to the Caribbean island and merged with the name Ana, which is the Taino language translated as flower. The use of the flower signifies the natural beauty of the country and also the blossom natural talent and spirit of the players. The mascot will be seen at the games in the two cities, the capital Santiago Domingo at the Felix Sanchez Stadium and in Santiago de las Celebes at the CFC Stadium. The Flamingos will represent the country at the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup in Dominican Republic. In basketball, as Nigeria's women's basketball team, the D-Tigers, intensified their preparations in Germany ahead of the Olympic Games in Paris, preparations have been concluded by the Nigerian Basketball Federation for the team to engage in 2 international friendly matches before the commencement of the Olympic Games. The Nigerian girls will play warm-up games against Germany and Puerto Rico. The first test game comes up on July 19 against Germany at the Uber Arena in Berlin during the basketball festival. The team would later take on Puerto Rico on July 21 in France. The D-Tigers are hoping for a better outing at the Olympic Games, which begins with getting past the group stage this time around, unlike the previous Olympic Games. Sports update, Gift George, NTA News.
With sports update, we conclude the network news on NTA. But before we go, just to let you know that President Tinubu is also supporting Amaju Pinnick's re-election bid. On that note, we say thank you for staying with us to the end of the bulletin.